right, and we are live.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Withered Flowers, the podcast where we talk about the explosive manhwa Tears on a Withered Flower by author Gainim. I am Madam Boyd, and on the panel with me tonight are Auntie Laura,
Digital
Girl, and the Study Bunny. Okay, so chapter 64 dropped today, and I already know that the fandom are going a little bit crazy because there was a lot of physical stuff going on, and I know there's still a bit of a divide in the fandom where some people are looking for a little bit more plot, a little bit more communication, and the rest of us are feral. So what do you guys think about what happened today? Were your expectations met, or are you still wanting a little bit more?
So I will say that I was kind of wanting a little bit more. Not saying that the smut wasn't kind of hot, but I mean, we did get a little bit of story there. We got some I want to say a little bit of defining moments between their relationship. I feel like Taeha is on the verge of just like losing his crap, to be honest, especially like after that apology that he got from her. So I don't know. I feel two ways about it personally. I mean, I'm not going to so far as to say I was disappointed, but I was kind of expecting just a little bit more. But that's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Digital Girl, can you give us the highlights to kind of show to everyone what Auntie Laura is talking about?
Certainly. So, just an FYI for everyone in the audience, given the nature of the chapter, we will only be showing select bits just to make sure that it stays PG-13. I'm going to share my screen. And I diligently did some highlights. So, to start off chapter 64, we land in the vestibule of Naheso's apartment. Teha came in hot, ready to go, and they're making out. Now, along with getting frisky, of course, Naheso is thinking to herself, this hand that always used to tease me so slowly, but his touch feels unusually hurried today. So she's noticing that he's really in a rush. And we saw that before. So he realizes that he's ready to go. And she, says, hey, what about your clothes? Hold on, wait a minute. If you just go. And the thing about it is while Nahe So was home alone, she herself was feeling some kind of way, feeling a little frisky. And she doesn't want him to find out that she was doing a solo adventure. But of course, Teha, being the smart man that he is, he notices that she seems to be veering and ready to go as well. And he calls her out on it. So she tells him to be quiet. And he still won't relent. So he's like, what were you doing by yourself before I arrived? You look like you're struggling. And at this point, they have not moved anywhere from the hallway. He's not even letting her get out the doorway before he's all over her. Now, the thing about it is they still have their clothes on. He's rubbing against her, and Naheso is taken aback. She's wondering why she's so sensitive. Um, but Teha keeps going. And she's looking him in the face at this point. And she's realizing, usually when we're in the midst of it, I'm so out of it that, I don't pay attention to his face. Now she's looking in his face and she's mesmerized. And she says, he looks so lewd. which he does. Um, and she's wondering, where did he get all of these moves from? And she calls in her brain, in her mind, she calls him a shameless brat. And now, in the middle of their hot makeout session, she looks away, and Teha, of course, notices. And she pulls a funny move on him because she wants to scold him to punish him, but she does something that gives us a new expression from Teha, which I'm very excited about because we're accustomed to seeing him with the mask up. And once she does whatever it is that she does, and for those who've read the chapter, he gets more excited than he was before. And I'm not quite sure if it's Nahe So or Teha thinking this, but gonna say Nahe So. I don't know if this is a punishment or if it's a reward. And she basically says, let's stop messing around. Let's get to the business. And then from there, the clothes are on the floor. Now, we're not going to show the really, really spicy bits, but things to be aware of is that the conversation does not end there. She decided out of nowhere that mid air acrobatics, she says, wait, Teha. And he says yes. And he's like all into it. Before we do it, I wanted to say something about earlier. I'm sorry for using you as an excuse. And of course, Teha was so excited. And she's bringing him back down to earth a little bit. And she says, for lying that we were dating to the stalker. I'm sorry if I upset you, but really, honestly, girl, you're upsetting him right now. So we switch to Teha's point of view. And Teha, of course, isn't particularly pleased about that statement. And he straight up tells her, that's not the kind of apology I want. While we're doing things like this, which is an accurate summation of that situation. If we're not dating, then what are we? And they're mid action and he's saying whatever it comes to mind. Like we said, the mask is basically cracked, the mask is off, and he's not holding back. And then in his head, he's thinking, am I just a replacement you plan to use up and to throw away when you get bored? And then we flash back to the alleyway when she's confronting the stalker. And he came up when she was saying he's younger and way more handsome. And now we flash back to his inner thoughts, getting my hopes up with words like that. And this is Teha again. You always draw a line as if I'm not allowed to peek into the empty space he left behind. And we know who he is. It's trash bag. I won't say his name. And he's thinking again, my heart grows impatient, but you still feel so far away. Is it a relief that at least our bodies are compatible? And they are. Um, and then we switch to Nahe So's point of view. And she's thinking to herself, even as my insides are twisting, the way I can feel you feels too damn good. So she's in it to win it. Meanwhile, he's, you know, feeling some kind of way about her disturbing the mood. But Teha is not letting up. So he says, then let's do it more often. And she thinks he selfishly crosses the line. And this last statement blew my mind. Should we fuck every day so you'll get sick of me faster? And that closes out the chapter. Woo, child. That's
Yeah.
a recap in the remix.
Yeah. That was a very revealing chapter. And for our discussion today, I would like for us to kind of focus on their relationship development and Jesus. In particular, I keep thinking about all of the previous chapters where she's constantly drawing that line. And it's the same thing that Tejas said in this chapter as well. So the question I kind of want to pose to the panel today is, since we know that Jesus is an intuitive woman and in no way naive, do you think she's intentionally misreading Teja to eventually push him away? Or does she really not believe that this guy is genuinely into her and wants to be with her? The
I'll
floor is
take.
for
I'll,
anyone.
I'll raise my hand first. I think it's the latter. I He apologized if she hurt him because she implied that they were together. I think that Nahe So, to a point, does not see herself as a part of his future. She's trying to prime herself for the inevitable conclusion that she thinks it's to come, where he finally gets tired and goes away. But the problem with this is that rather than priming herself and getting herself ready for him to leave her, he's basically pushing him into a corner because he's not going to go anywhere. But unfortunately for this poor man, every time she brings him up and makes him feel good, he also makes him feel terrible. And she's not aware of it. I think
Mhm.
the situation now with him flat out saying, I'm going to do this until you get tired of me, is probably going to be a wake up call for her if she's paying attention. And I certainly hope that she is.
Okay. Yeah. I can definitely see that. Study Bunny, what are your thoughts on that? Can you hear us? I don't think she can hear us. Let's go
Yeah.
to Auntie Laura.
Yeah, I kind of feel like she's definitely doing it on purpose. I feel like it's one of those things, and I think somebody just I think actually Digital Girl just said this, but I think she's kind of setting herself up to, to not be so disappointed when this little, in her mind, fling like ends. And I think it's for a few reasons. I think it's because she's worried about the age difference, and I also think she's worried about what it'll do to him and to her. I mean, I think she's just got a lot of anxiety, which is understandable. But I really think that, at this point, she needs to shit or get off the pot, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah.
think he's going to get to a breaking point where I think he's going to do something very, very unpredictable. And I feel like we're starting to get some not so great tension between the two now. Um, that's kind of the feeling. Like honestly, like this chapter was a little, for me personally, it was a little uncomfortable to read, and it was a little cringy just because of, like Naheso or Nahesu, you know, just saying, "Oh, I'm sorry for calling you my boyfriend." I mean, that's just kind of like a big slap in the face. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I did want to read a comment real quick from Kishu6, and I'm sorry if I did not pronounce your name right. They said, I think she knows his feelings but doesn't think they will last. Both are misreading signals, though. When she looked away after looking at him in the chapter, he questioned it. He thinks it's because she believes it's physical. Then she continues to, then she continues to, in his eyes, drop the ball. And another comment, Robel, they are saying, he is slowly crumbling. Soon enough, Teju will find out. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's a bit irritating to see that like your physical relationship continues to grow and there's no way in hell you can keep doing those types of things together and not catch feelings. It always
Mhm.
happens, whether or
Mm-hmm.
not you want to admit that those feelings are there. But at the same time, it's like consistently drawing that line. Actually, I don't want the strings attached. But when that person is not there, you're pining for them. So I think
Yes.
Nahesu's biggest issue is one, being honest with herself, and then being willing to open up to Teha. And I would really like to see that. Study Bunny, are you able to hear us? Because we cannot hear you if you are speaking. Okay.
Well,
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say in lieu of Daddy Bunny, I mentioned it earlier in the day when we were having discussion that Nahe So has spent a good portion of her time in her relationship, in her marriage, being silenced.
Mm-hmm.
And when you turn off a faucet and you turn it, once you cut off some water and it's off for a long time and you turn it back on, everything comes out. And when I say everything, everything that was caught in the pipes comes out. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, because Naheso has been so accustomed to not speaking her mind or not saying anything and just taking every remark that she gets on the chin, the fact that she feels safe enough to just say what she wants to say to Teha is it's in the extreme because she's not even thinking it all the way through. And Teha, for the record, for numerous times in public has called her his girlfriend when she's not there in front of him and when she's in front of them. Case in point, when they were in the clothing store, the lady asks, are they dating? And he's basically, that's my girlfriend. And she's like, oh, we're not dating. But she's not paying attention to the key signs that he doesn't care about anything other than her being near him. And she's
Mm-hmm.
focused way too much on her anxiety around making the relationship official.
Yeah, yeah, I can
Mm.
definitely see that. I often wonder if what she's feeling, like I understand the way society, like Korean society is going to look at her. You're an older woman dating a much younger guy. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But at the same time, I wonder if her shame about the whole thing is coming from her thinking or feeling like she doesn't deserve any of it because of what she's known for the past decade with her ex-husband. She wasn't allowed
Yes.
to feel freely. She wasn't getting any pleasure. Anytime she did try something, he would just kind of go off on the handle and then she would be silent. So, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, that's definitely another dynamic of hers. Um, so the next part, I'm really curious what you think will happen in the next chapter based
Oh
on
my.
what
Oh,
Teha said at the end. And I'm not talking
No,
about the Nookie. We already know that that's going to be going on and it'll probably last for like another chapter and a half. With the words that Teha is saying to her, like, can we do this until you get sick of me? Do you think she's really going to get that wake up call like, oh, whoa, his
certainly
feelings
hope
are
so.
real?
I don't think she's gonna think his feelings are real, to be honest with you. I think that she's going to hear her inner thoughts echoed back at her because she's waiting for him to get sick of her. Now he's saying to her, until you get sick of me, right? So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that having her own words thrown into her face will like not be a splash of cold water because right now they're mid action, but more so like a wake up call in that way that he's thinking that she's going to dump him while she's thinking that, you know,
he's gonna dump her.
exactly. They're both
Mhm.
at cross purpose right now.
Yeah, they're
Can you
just
guys
like,
hear me?
we can hear you
Oh,
now.
mhm,
Oh my
we can
goodness.
hear you now.
Okay, it's my
We missed
Wi-Fi.
you.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm really
I
eager to hear what you have to say about this though. If you,
Oh,
if you just
all
want to
definitely.
right.
jump right in.
Okay. So the thing is that I've always knew that the communication that everybody's been pretty much craving for, it's going to be forced. And the thing is that both of them have their traumas. Seha being raised in an environment that being neglectful and being cold and calculated is kind of like the name of the game for survival. But also Hazel has been raised in an environment that communication actually essentially puts her into danger. And as well as the fact that gaslighting, I did post all of the neighbor comments that I found interesting into the chat, so you guys can feel free to read those. But the thing is that she was basically gaslit for 10 years of her life, or how long before the abuse started. And the thing is that we could even see into the flashback that Minchell has always kind of like mocked Hazel for her lack of knowledge of the world. And to have that persistently be put onto you, it's a lot. I've always just known that it's always going to be something that's going to be forced between them. Like, I've just said to myself, you know what, let them have their delusion now, because eventually when the family and Minchell reappear onto the scene, they'll have no choice but to communicate, because everything will be out in the open. And that is a big mess. But I do love a good mess. I've always loved a good mess. I do think that in the heat of the moment, during this exchange, this physical exchange, she will confess, or Teha will make her confess, because at this point, Teha is hurrying for an answer. He's hurrying for reassurance. He's hurrying for an assumption, because at that point, he wants to be able to know that he can act as petty and as wrong as he can, because he knows at least Hazel sees the relationship as more than physical. And if he can have that tiny little bit of assurance, he can be able to do whatever he needs to do to stand up to his dad, especially his brother, and to Minchol. But if he cannot get that assurance from Naheso, which I don't blame her as well, but we've always established that Teha is a bit naive and Hazel is very closed off. And the thing is that if they were to communicate, it doesn't even matter at this point, because it's like a domino effect. Teha has to confess about his feelings. That's great. But then he's also eventually going to have to confess how he met Naheso. How long has he known Naheso for? How long, like the depth of the desire and quote unquote love that Teha has for Naheso, I don't think that can be easily confessed, because then he's going to have to be honest with other facets of his life that will actually cause a drift in the relationship. It's like a Jenga tower. Take out a piece and the entire tower probably will fall.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I almost want to say though that in some way, like, I do agree with parts of that, but as far as like with the way that how he's pushing her to confess, I kind of feel like what is going to happen, I feel like she's going to pull away again. And I feel like she's going to, and I really don't want to make this statement, but but just to be devil's advocate, I almost kind of feel like what she's going to do is kind of downplay like what they have a little bit, because she is setting herself up for when he leaves. Because I kind of feel like that she we know that she wants to be with him on some level. She has started to recognize that, and we've seen that because she's thinking about him more often. She calls him, she texts him, she misses him, but I kind of feel like she's kind of enjoying it, but she's treating it like a temporary thing, which we know that's not what Teha wants. But I feel like because she considers herself to be the adult in this situation, she's going to try to do what she feels is going to be best for him. Which is to give him the space to leave because he's young. I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong. I just want to put this out there. I want them to be together, but this is not a standard romance.
Right.
And I did want to read a couple of comments too, if you guys don't mind. Kishu had said that his inexperience in him. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read it. He's inexperienced himself, and he has been silenced due to unseen trauma, though, so will he. So I think this is referring to him being up front. You know, and I think, and I agree with that. I think a lot of his inexperience with people, you know, I really feel like, you know, that's a reason for him not to really say anything, you know, because he's dealing with stuff he doesn't even know that he's dealing with. And then I did want to read one other comment. And this is from Moagan Gilfer, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. But they said, yeah, Teha has his own issues and trauma, but with his mask and patience starting to crack, his heart now more than ever. Oh, heart now. I think what they're trying to say is his heart is hurting now more than ever. I think this sets the stage for him exploding, in quotes, or burying himself in a way. Also, I think if Jesus was paying attention to his words in this chapter, this would make her reflect after. And yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
I agree
Hmm.
as well. I do think that, um, counter to what you said, Auntie Laura, I do not believe that she's going to be able to shy away. When we talk about this couple, we don't talk enough about the lack of experience Naheso has. She's only been with one man who wore two faces and got treated basically like Pavlov's dog after a while, where the reinforcement of how Minchal wanted her to behave was if he did anything that pissed him off, he struck her with his words. So she was very much so mentally abused. She's physically abused by her parents, and she's never been with anyone else. She's never seen a
Mhm.
life outside of that. So she's not very experienced either. It's like two children piling on top of each other wearing a trench coat, trying to act like adults. And neither one of them are prepared, regardless of what age they are. Um,
Mhm.
these two both are going to have to reconcile with the fact that they're going to have to blurt everything that they think and get through the muck to come to a consensus. And Teja's at that point where he's like, well, you know what? I'm tired of holding back. I'm gonna throw this all out. I'm just gonna say whatever I'm thinking now, and I hope that he continues to do that because that's gonna take her back to be like, oh, that's what he's thinking. And I really do hope and pray that Gainim gives that moment where Naheso is shocked by what he says. It doesn't happen. She glosses over. I'll be so disappointed by that because he really is unveiling himself in a way that she needs to recognize and also react to.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do agree with that.
I agree too. I
Yeah,
agree.
I do as well. I so basically the general consensus that we want clearer communication between the two of them. We want them being truthful about their feelings and basically all of the other truths coming out both for them and the audience. Where my mind is now is when the truth finally does come out and Jesus has to make a decision on whether or not she wants to stay with this person. And I know last time we talked about it, we kind of discussed the possibility of her feeling like she doesn't really know Teha because he's going to appear as a stranger when she learns the truth about him. So now that we're talking about his feelings kind of unraveling and his sense of urgency, do you think there will come a point where Teha will have to prove to Jesus that what he's feeling is actually love and not obsession? Because if we go back to the very beginning, he's been stalking her for God knows how long, and he's doing all of these other things to kind of manipulate her to be a part of his life. Can someone, I mean, like, would you consider that to be love or just obsession?
I don't
Mm,
think it's obsession. I think that he's going to have to prove that A, it is love, and B, he's not around just because he's a weirdo. Um, it's a little, or let's be real, like Chaos a Yandere. Like it's
Il est
obsession,
très
it's love,
compliqué.
it's passion, it is all the things. And if I'm going to be real with you guys, she's stuck and she doesn't know it yet, but that man is not coming up off of her in any way, shape, form, or fashion. He is locked in for life, whether she likes it or not. And maybe, just maybe, she's going to have to reconcile with the fact that he's going to be her friend till the end.
I think there's a fine line between like love and obsession, you know, because I feel like with obsession, it can take a darker turn and become toxic. You know, but maybe, hopefully, in this case, I mean, I don't know. Like, I know that he is a yandere, you know, and I know that is one of the things that we kind of find appealing about his character is how he's willing to do anything for her. Um, and as much as that is kind of hot in some ways, you have to really think about like what is the what's the end result of that? You know, it could turn into something good, and I don't want to say wholesome, but it could turn into something that's like good and nurturing. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. You know, but I think but my what I'm afraid of is he's going to take it to a dark place before she realizes that. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
absolutely.
I mean, I feel like
Absolutely.
he's already taking things. So, I mean, there's a man beaten half to death in a warehouse somewhere. So it's already starting to get pretty dark. We're starting to see what I would consider his real side. But that's the side that's only reserved for those that I want to say he feels are beneath him, because Jesus is the only person he puts on a pedestal.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mhm. And I did want to read a couple of the comments real quick, if I may. So we have Rahima saying, "I wonder if he knows what love and lust is," and I think that's actually a fair question.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you know, because even with like, you know, when we were just saying about obsession, like even love and lust have a very fine line. Um, there's also another comment with Kishu6. This is why I love Lee J's character. He has been questioning him so far in all the right moments. So I
Mm-hmm.
agree with that. I love how like Lee J is like the straight man, you know, where he's like, all right, bro, like, you know your dad's watching and you know you're pulling shenanigans. So um it'll be interesting to see what Lee J's reaction like the morning after, you know, like this little evening that they are spending together. And then I just want to read a couple more. Let's see. Moigan Guilford says a scene where it's like, was I just a plaything to you? When she finds out about his identity and manipulation. Um, Laletta says Teja wants her to admit that she likes him. Them being together won't happen right now, but steps will lead in that direction. So there's been some very good comments in the chat so far.
Yeah.
I mean, for a smut chapter, you know, there was really a lot to
I
unpack
do.
here.
Yeah, definitely. There there was a lot. There was a lot that was being told with their internal monologues and the way they were looking at each other and some of the things that they were saying to each other. So sometimes I do get a little irritated when there are folks reading and they're like, oh, but the plot is not moving. The plot is only one part of it. There's also emotional growth, the growth within the relationship. Sometimes you just kind of need that between the two characters. And I think we're at a point where Teja and Jesus are getting to realize, or they're going to realize, how they truly feel about each other and be open about that. So then when we get to the next step where everyone knows what's going on and they're either forced to separate and they have to kind of fight for each other, I'm kind of hoping we're going to get something like that. It's all
Mm-hmm.
going to make sense. because there's a lot of communication that can go on between two naked bodies. Like, you can't always hide those feelings when you're like touching someone else's soul. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what this chapter was about.
Betty Bunny,
Yeah.
I saw you come in. Did you want to say something? Maybe she's not there. Um,
Yeah. I know she mentioned her Wi-Fi is not the greatest, but we love you, Study Bunny.
Yeah.
you
Um,
guys, I think honestly, we're the story's cadence has those peaks and valleys where we lead up to this like moment and then we come crashing down with reality. And
can you guys hear
I,
me?
yeah, we
Yeah.
Yeah,
can
we
hear you.
can hear you now.
Oh my God, what is with this? Okay, sorry guys, my Wi-Fi is very weak. Been having electricity issues all day. So I have to stay in the hallway now. Anyways, I had something to say about the pacing of the story.
Hmm.
Um, this is not the first time that Gainium has used smut as kind of like the last final hurrah. Um, before like something plot heavy happens. In chapters 38 and 39, they said in their author's note for 40 that they kind of were forced to make the chapter nice, happy, dappy because it was Valentine's Day. The minute it was chapter 41, guess what happened? Teja took the sonogram. What happened in 42? We had that entire chapter with Minchol. Chapter 43 was Teju being reintroduced into the scene. And then chapter 44, Tahi was reintroduced to the scene. Then, because everyone was really upset about what happened in 42 and 43, because there was a date that was supposed to be expected, we got 45, 46, and 47. Then people were upset because, oh, we haven't had smut in a long time and we had to deal with what happened in chapter 42. Chapter 42 gave us 48 and 49. But you know what happened after 48 and 49, class? 50 and 51. Then the same thing happened again. So 50 and 51 were plot heavy. So the thing is that I'm saying to myself, okay, everybody is in their positions. I always like to think about the plot as like a chessboard. Gainim has set up everyone. We don't know where Tahi is. Teju is definitely going to get wind of the fact that Teha is not at work. Lee J knows that Teha is at home, and Teju knows where Naheso lives because of the investigator's appearance in chapter 47. So, because we are now having an intense smut chapter, they have to have a what is it called? They're going to probably have a confession because that's what people have been begging for in the Naver comments. There is a 99.9% chance this shit's going to hit the fan. And that's just because people were complaining and begging for plot progression. So Gainim, being the unhinged woman she is going to give it to us, but it's like Pandora's box. And I've always said that. And that's something that kind of irked me a little bit because there's ways, Cynthia has mentioned it in the leak discussions channel, that this plot is like a Pandora's box. If we want one thing to be revealed, then we need 7 different things to be revealed at the same time. But the issue is that those things will shift the entire story's atmosphere to high heavens. I feel like Gainim is really trying to hold out on giving us happy moments up until when shit hits the fan, and then it turns angsty, and we're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? In the part of the communication, like I said before, oh my goodness, I need like communication. It's like it's like a domino effect. You have to say one thing, then you have to say everything that's on the table. And the thing is that these two, even if these two got a lesson in healthy communication, Oxford level lecture, right? If they went to therapy, the whole 9 yards, at that point, it doesn't even matter. The deal is done. Like I know it doesn't have to be Pandora's box. I just saw Loletta's comment, but the thing is that when Cynthia was also mentioning the different plot points that are within the story, for example, if we need to know Teja's past, we have to understand about how Nahiso and Teja has met. Then we also have to understand why Tahi abused Teja so much. Then we're going to have to find out about the death of his mother. Then we're going to have to also find out the issue about the mistress, why Teju is the way he is. And then we also need to understand and find out about the whole mistress situation. And also the whole thing with Director Bayek. So it's like, okay, we want one thing, and then there's like 10 different things that follow. And that's why I kind of call it like a Pandora's box, because okay, if we have to have one thing, like for example, if we have to have healthy communication within the story and then they get to open up, then that means that also kind of means that they're going to also have to what is it called? Admit a couple of things about the fact that both of these two individuals have hurt each other. And it's not about blame, it's just because of their insecurity. They're two insecure
Mhm.
people in a relationship, and two broken people, hurt people. That is a
Mhm.
quote that I use a lot
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're both hurt individuals. Hazel was hurt by her family. Hazel was hurt by Minchol, and she's now hurting Teha. But Teha was hurt by Tahi. Teha was hurt by Teju, and he is unintentionally hurting Hazel by lying to her. And the thing is that people are just like, oh my gosh, this person is using that person, and this person is being mean and manipulating this person. Both of these people don't know what healthy communication is.
Nope.
Even if you slap them in the face with a fish. So here is what the study buddy wants. It to be forced, it to have everything. They need to be in a situation where even if the earth is crumbling down, they will have to have a conversation. And once the family comes in and they, and they're just like, oh my gosh, like, oh, this is your relationship. This is what you've been doing. Once Minchell gets wind of this, once Teju gets wind of this, because in my mind, I'm very aware Teha doesn't actually understand the extent of how much Teju knows about the relationship. So I hear everyone saying, oh my gosh, when are they going to talk? The answer, they are going to talk when the family comes into play.
Yeah.
Naheso is going to have to admit that she is in a relationship with Teha when Minchol comes back and when she sees Minchol. Because if she says, I'm not in a relationship, Minchol is going to use that. So I, as a study buddy, would love a healthy communication, but I realized in like chapter 41, when she was being, standoffish after the first time, it's just like, you know what? I really, really would like the family to force them to communicate. I would really, really like her to look at Minchell in the face after she had her glow up, because I still don't think she's grown up enough to be able
Nope.
to see Minchell again. I really want her to see that fact she's drunk on power and she's drunk on pleasure. I want her to be able to take that, mold that, and then use it as a cannon to hit Minchell in the face. So yeah, this point, I know I would love communication. You guys see me in the comments be like, yeah, I kind of know. I want them to be forced. Because imagine if Taeju confronts Taeha about the relationship, everything he has done, the stalking, everything. Taeha is going to be scared and shitting his pants.
Yeah.
Taeha has been acting very cocky and sloppy, and Lee J has pointed that out to him in his monologue in chapter 32. The fact that it's like, oh, it looks like you want to be caught by the chairman and that woman who we now know is Director Big. And the thing is that in my mind, I'm just like, it's just the best solution because these two can't communicate. And that's what Ganium is trying to set up. They are both aware of the emotions they have for each other. Let's not lie to each other, folks. They're both very aware that they like each other. Teha is aware that
Mhm.
Heiso likes her. And Heiso admitted in chapter 36 that she knows that Teha likes her. So the thing is that I can see it going down like this. Teju is going to go be aware about the fact that, hey, my sons did not come back. We still have the high school crew that we have not seen in over 40 chapters or
Mhm.
even 50 chapters or
Yeah.
so. And the thing is that once they come, because the thing is that Doohae-ji knows about Naheso's existence, knows about Naheso, how she looks like physically. And the fact of the matter is that if they know that, oh, this woman was married, there was probably a conversation or two that Teha had with these people that they revealed that, oh, this person was married. And the fact that Teha was acting very, very weird about it. And then there's also Lee
Think
J.
so.
I thought he can question Lee J. If he has a brain and can use it, he would question Lee J. Even if Lee J doesn't
Yeah.
say anything, Lee J's standoffishness, he can literally get a second bodyguard to what is it called? To stalk Lee J and then find out where she lived, just like how the investigator did it in chapter 47. It's not that hard. They got money, they can do it. I want them
Yeah.
to be forced. I
But
want them to
Well,
be forced.
I
This is their punishment for not talking. This is their punishment for not talking because they don't want to communicate. Fine. Let the parents, let everybody know about this mess, and let the whole world crumble down on top of you. I beg.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Well, I did want to let you guys know that Laletta is on deck. So Laletta, whenever
Girl.
you're ready, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and we're anxious to hear from you. So go right ahead, my dear.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
welcome.
I was wanting to speak on the Pandora's box thing. Um, I don't know if you guys saw me in the comments. I was going crazy.
Mhm.
Um, but I really think that like it would be so amazing if she just like answered one question or like there's so many questions, so many like holes that are not being filled right now. And I feel like even if she were to say like, okay, this is who Teha mother is, we're gonna be like, oh crap, really? We got some information. Okay, now where is she? And then obviously a couple other chapters we'll get
We know
information
she's
more
dead,
about.
though. She's in
You say
heaven.
what?
We know she's dead. She's dead. Taylor's
Maybe.
No,
mother's
I'm just
dead.
saying like
Maybe. We don't have
where
to
sorry, where
confirm.
was she? Like did her
Oh
brother
yeah.
did his dad like kick her out? Like what exactly happened? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
Sorry.
Mhm.
true.
That's what I mean. Like what exactly happened? Like did his dad give up on him? Like I don't know. Like I'm just saying like if we got an answer to that question as to like where was she during his childhood, but I feel like that question isn't going to be asked right now because it's not currently like relevant to the story right now. I feel like that, but I'm just saying like if certain things could be answered to help us stay involved in the story, that would be really good. And I don't think it would like um like kind of like evolve everything like you were saying, like it would just kind of erupt everything. I don't think it will. It'll just keep people entertained and engaged in the story because people are gonna get I feel like people are gonna get bored if you just keep on just giving them a little bit here and there. Like, hey, answer the question at least, or because there's so much
I
that
Yeah.
agree.
isn't that's left
Yeah.
unsaid and it's getting frustrating. And I mean, I was out there in the comments like, okay, a smut chapter, come on, really? But I enjoyed it. Okay, I enjoyed it like everyone else, but
Mhm.
I really wanted like more information on
Yeah.
I
like
feel like
somebody,
Mhm.
it's
like
gonna be like a
even my
plot
zaddy like
bomb that's
boyfriend,
gonna
I
about to
really
get
want information on
dropped.
Zaddy.
I feel okay. I would love. You guys know me. I want that dumb sonogram to be found. That sonogram is
Oh
haunting my
God.
dreams. That
The
sonogram is haunting my mind.
sonogram.
It's
Oh my gosh.
literally in my username now. But the thing is that I would love a confession, or at least would love to know where Tahi is. But at the same time, because Gaining has done this before, they have
Mm.
given us a smut chapter after they've set the pieces up. Like, for example, oh, we found out there was this, we found out in chapter 44, Tahi is looking for Nahe, looking for a weakness in Teha. Then all of a sudden, we also know that in chapter 43, Teju, what is it called? Was trying to do an investigation on his son. What ended up happening? People were wanting like a, what is it called? A date chapter because they were begging for it, they were wanting it. But Game has already set up the pieces. So what did they do? They gave us a day chapter. It was nice. We had that very sad monologue though from Heiso about how she was just like, I'm just waiting for the end of this love, indicating to us that Na Heiso is just waiting for the relationship to fail. See, that's how she is. Like that's how her mindset is at this point. But then all of a sudden, after the smut was said and done, we got chapter 50. Until this day, chapter 50 probably had the most amount of plot progression I have
Mm-hmm.
seen in a
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
chapter. That is my favorite chapter, obviously next to chapter 51 to date. Because what ended up being the cliffhanger for chapter 50? Teju's
Mm-hmm.
coming over to Teha's apartment. Was I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do? What was I
It was
supposed to
so
do to
like
that?
intense.
Really
It was
was.
stress.
Like
It was
for a
stress.
whole week we were like debating on whether or not Lee J was like
Was
gonna be
I
alive. I was like, no, not Lee J. He's our
Not
straight man,
Zaddy,
especially
no.
after seeing that sweet, sexy tat on his back. But
Oh
anyways.
my gosh.
Well, you
Oh,
guys, honestly, I can understand where you're coming from, Loletta, with the breadcrumbing that Gainem does. Because actually, nobody's mentioning the breadcrumbs right now that are really significant but I guess because they just flashed on the screen, we forgot. Let's start with the fact that the scars on Teja's arm that are covered in a tattoo were there in his early, maybe even preteen years. No,
Yes.
no one's talking about that. Okay, so we saw him um, beating up Tehi, and the scars are
Thank
there.
God.
Second,
Thank God.
Ganem confirmed that Teha knew who Naheso was, at least, at the very least. This is not the limit, but by high school or even late middle school, Teha knew who she was, right? So those things where we don't need, you know what? I do not believe that Naheso or Teha are going to have a real conversation until their backs are against the wall and they start scratching each other like cats and
That's
dogs.
what I
That's
want.
what. But
Yeah,
That's
like what you're
mhm.
describing is breadcrumbs. I can't eat breadcrumbs. That's not enough to feed me. I need
but
full on
where?
bread. I need
We need
eggs,
green.
ribs, bacon. I need
We need a
all of
You're
it.
meal.
not gonna get that. You need
I
at
need a
least an
meal.
appetite.
Exactly.
You're not gonna get a meal. You're gonna get portion control. And I think she needs to make the portion a little bigger because she could flash over to
I'm gonna
someone
be
else,
anorexic
right?
at this point.
Well,
I
maybe
think
she stands
everybody
to
is
be
to an extent.
stand to lose
Mhm.
some weight, but I'm
I
just
need to.
aware that you drop something in the middle of everything where it's like choose this time around, choose me, not him, flashback, then we never speak of it again. And I'm like, hey, that wasn't even connected to anything. It was like a Family Guy cut over where it has nothing to do with the plot at all in the moment, but it happened. So
What they
like
did
that to
this
be
with the
explored.
Wait, what part are you talking about exactly?
So
It's with
when
ooh, what
what
chapter is
chapter
it?
was it? What's it like
I'm not study
chapter
bunny. I don't
51?
remember shit sometimes.
No.
Oh,
This is the panel at large, Mama. It's plural. So it's in the 50s. And I can't say the exact. Study Bunny can be my guide and witness. When the
Study bunny, you're a dictionary. Tell us.
oh my God. I think it's 52 or 53. Let me
yeah, because I was gonna
confirm real
say
quick.
51, but it's not because that was when Lee J was getting his face punched in. Um,
God bless Lee J. I'm just saying.
My
Lee
daddy,
J
why?
and we trust. Um, it had around
It was
52,
definitely before
53 that
it was
he
definitely before the what is it called? The fight. So I mean
it,
um
it's it's in there. It's buried in there. That's how crazy it is that we saw it and then it disappeared,
You said
right?
it was after the fight?
No, it's
it
before
was
the fight.
before the
So it's
fight.
Okay, so
like
it's not 52 because 50, yeah, it's not 52.
like 53, 54. It's in there somewhere before the fight. Like I can't give you the quotes.
Let
We'll
me
come back to that
see.
later, but that's just an example of the breadcrumbs.
Vera,
Another
if
thing
you
I
got us, please, we need you.
we need you out here in these streets. So
We need
another
the
thing was
screenshot.
to bring Study Bunny stated something about the
Hmm.
high school squad. Doheji knows what the lunch lady at the barbecue spot looks like. He doesn't know who that woman is. Neither does Don Hook. They don't connect the dots very well because they've already assumed
What?
Teha's life. They don't know who Naheso is. They just seen a lady at a barbecue spot, and Teha, only person who like Doheji was like, "Do you know that lady?" And he was like, "Oh, you caught me. Yeah, I know her." And that was it. He's been very discreet about what he's revealed. Nobody really knows Naheso except for Lee J and Teju. So the idea that the high school squad is going to be able to unveil her origins, I think, is not necessarily true. Maybe Doheji, if she's out of her feelings and into her vengeance
Worst
mode.
case scenario is Minchol. If Tahi finds a way to find Minchol Kang, I'm gonna fling myself off a tall building. I'm telling you that just right now.
My
It's
opinion on that is that Minchall would need to be homeless because in order for him to even get out of the house at this point, he's going to have to get a crowbar and wrench Ari off his back in order to
Oh my
even
me.
god.
make.
Do you know how many neighbor commenters are stressed about the possible fact that she's pregnant because of what
Oh,
happened in
she
chapter 57 or 58? It
listen.
was 58. look, if we're going, we have a question, a really important question that is probably going to get answered, is what happened with that miscarriage? Because the thing is that people were
Yeah.
saying that like the miscarriage was like one of the big things that ruined Minchel and Hazel's relationship. And the thing is that if I have $10, I'm betting my $10 left toe
$10.
and my right ear. And that's all I got. That's all I got on my account. But the thing is that we're going to have we're not going to get a parallel, but we are definitely going to see Minchel's reaction and like the final destruction of the relationship with Ari being pregnant. She's not going to have a baby. Minchel's seed is not very vibrant. I'm going to say this right now. The man
Not
smokes.
vibrant.
The man smokes, the man drinks, the man does everything to make those swimmers weak. So it's like, okay. And then what's going to happen? He is going to turn into the actual version of what Hazel had to experience and go through when the abuse was at its peak. Because in my mind, I think that the flashbacks with 28 and 29 were very much rose colored. Because there were certain things that was just like off-putting to me about like, why is Minchel like making fun of her so much? Well, this and that and the third. And the thing is that I still think that like the kind of like hatred that Minchel has for Ari, misplaced hatred, may I say, is
Yeah.
going to really be at its like precipice with the fact that, she is possibly pregnant. She's not gonna carry the term. She will miscarry the baby, sadly. I don't want her to miscarry. I don't think miscarriage is something that anybody should go through. But
Mm-mm.
is that this is Ari's
Mm-mm.
bullet dodge. This is Ari's bullet dodge because if she sees how badly Minchel treats her and she loses the baby, she's going to jump. She's jumping ship. That's her wake up call to jump ship. That is a violent wake up call to jump ship. She will jump. And the thing is that he will be homeless, and the only person he could really turn to is a man who suspiciously looks like the debt collector I saw a few chapters ago. So
Do you
there,
think that there's a possibility with that? Seeing how Ari is the way she is, if she does become pregnant and then she starts to see the change in Minchel, do you think she would just be like, actually, I don't want to put up with this and I don't want to deal with you for the rest of my life, and then just go and get an abortion on her own?
Not the fetus
Mm.
deletus.
No, because
Not
seeing
girl,
the
I
way,
will drive her. I will drive her to the clinic myself. I will pay the
yeah.
fees. If we can't do it in Korea, we will go to China. We'll go through North Korea, get into China, and get the abortion.
Mm.
Nobody should be carrying his seed at all.
He's
God,
yeah,
not
because
I
it would
responsible.
be a really strong
Uh, I
choice.
mean, well, I mean, I all right. So when it comes to
Yes.
Ari, I have opinions. I will not state all of them right now. However, I don't. I think a lot of it is probably going to be dependent on her parents.
Yep.
Um,
Oh
and this is
yeah.
why I say this. So we know that Ari is kind of spoiled. We know that her family is supporting oh my god, I promise I'm not having a stroke.
Oh, please
We
don't.
know that her family is supporting her. I mean, she offered to crash the car that they were in so she could get a new one.
That was
So
so
I
sweet to me.
really yeah, so I really, really feel like Ari's decision is probably going to come down to whether or not her family will support her um, if she gets pregnant. I think it will depend on whether or not, they approve of Minchol. Because I kind of feel like in Korean society, and I'm not an expert, I'm obviously not Korean, but from what I can see from their media, like family is a very big, important aspect. And especially like when, I know a lot of adult children, it seems like still, you know, listen to their parents, I guess, in a manner of speaking. So I really kind of feel like if she's going to keep that baby, I think it's probably going to be up to her parents. I think what I'm trying to say is I think her parents is probably going to influence that decision. Cuz if they cut off support, I think she's probably not going to have any choice but to terminate the pregnancy. Um, I mean, she could try to use it as a bargaining chip with Minchol, but I don't think that'll work. And I hate to
Right.
put it that way, but here we are, and this is
Right.
Ari. So
Yeah, I do have something to say about that. I do know a little something. If I don't know if times have changed over there yet, but um single and unwed mothers, once you have that child, I believe you can't even add them to your family registry, and you
You
can't get a
cannot.
birth certificate or something like that. So
mm,
if her parents are of an older generation and Ari gets pregnant, she's not married, and they see that this guy is a complete waste of time, they might encourage her to get rid of the child. Because what kind of a life are you going to have as a single mother when you're going to be shunned by society? All of the benefits you can receive as a married mother, you're not going to be able to get. What kind of life is your child going to have? I don't think they would let their daughter go through something like that. So, a part of me really does strongly believe that they would kind of encourage her, like, it's 6 weeks. We can go to the clinic. We can get this, and you can start over fresh, meet someone else, or they might even be willing to arrange something for her. I know parents still do that where they're like, okay, you're at the age now where you need to get married. We've set up a date for you with someone. You can go meet them and we can take it from there. So I think if that were to happen, it would be good for Ari, get away from that guy. He's taking advantage of you. But also, what a blow, and a very delicious blow it would be to Min Trash. Because on one end of the spectrum, your ex-wife lost the baby, and now your side piece is choosing to get rid of the baby. No one wants to be attached to you. I would love to see that, because screw him. Yeah.
mhm.
Y'all already know
And
how I
this
feel
is what
about him.
Gainey meant by, oh, it's just going to get a whole lot worse for him here in that author's note for
Mhm.
57. That's going to
Mhm.
actually be peak because,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's gonna
and
destroy his ego as a man.
even worse, he shakes hands with the devil that is beyond Tahi. He fails miserably in his quest to get Hazel back. Hazel's glowing, baby bump luxury, and Tahi
Hmm.
dies. No,
That's
that's
season
a good
2.
one right there.
I,
I love a good
I
mess.
think the poetic justice would be that Min Chol ends up back in the sub basement apartment, being miserable,
Mm,
eating his ramen and drinking his soju without any snacks because he doesn't know how to actually do anything but be a man child, as Sabrina Carpenter would say. Um, I could see in the future potentially because you want the terrible twins. I could see Tahi eventually running into this miserable soul, and they're two miserable souls being miserable together and trying to make life complicated. But honestly, what I do think is going to happen is Tahi is probably going to get punted out of the country again. Um, because I
Yeah.
don't think he's responsible enough to be the heir. He's not responsible in any way, shape, or form, personally or professionally. So I don't think he's going to be the heir unless something tragic really happens to Teha. And even then, I don't think Teju would even keep Tehi. I think he's still Pontem because he's not prepared to take over any kind of empire. Other than that, just wondering, just looping back, I'm just wondering how much of a downward spiral we're going to get in the next chapter. Just echoing what Study Bunny said, there's those peaks and valleys where we get this nice little, adrenaline rush, we get a little bit of dopamine, and then Gaining pulls out, brandishes the literal knife and twists it right as she stabs us in the gut with all of this stuff happening. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm just like, I don't know what to do on this roller coaster other than hold on and pray that I don't get my
this better
wig
have a happy
snatched.
ending. This better have a
Yeah.
happy ending, I swear to God. Oh,
Yeah.
it better be
Now,
happy. It better be
scream for
happy.
you.
Better it
Okay.
better be happy or I'm finding her. I'm gonna actually find her. I'll find her. You know, I spent way much too much money.
Okay,
So
so
if I
I think we've covered some theories of what could happen in the future of the story and how things are moving. Now that we're kind of getting close to wrapping up, I would love to hear your expectations for chapter 65. What do you want to see? What do you need to see?
I need to see what Tahi's doing, because why did that man miss work for 2 days? That's not a
wasn't in the
coincidence. And the
house.
fact that his
Same.
brother missed work too around the same time, I feel like he's following his brother. That's what I think. I think he's watching his brother.
If Taki
Ooh.
walks in, imagine if Taki walks in.
He wouldn't. He don't have a key.
That's what someone said in the comments, and I was like, yo, that would be crazy.
I
I
wanted
don't
to
think he would.
do.
He
No,
doesn't
but
have to
imagine.
walk in. They're still at the door.
That's what
He
I'm
can hear
saying. Like, he's
them.
just sitting by the door, just like,
That would
If he
require
comes
so
in the
many
morning,
contingencies for Tahi. Teju, however, might pull up in a
no,
black
not
car.
really. You can literally walk
I
up in that place without having any access. So he could just be sitting at the door listening in right now.
Tahi?
no, because it would make sense
Good.
for Teju. It can make sense for Teju. Tahi could do it. Because but the thing is that Tahi doesn't even know who Hazel is.
No.
But if Tahi followed Teha, because that's like the most easiest way to find out what he's doing. Because if the secretary even mentioned, like, oh yeah, your brother is like not at work, or he noticed that, like, oh, if my brother's not at work, let me follow where my brother is going, then
Mm-hmm.
all he has to kind of do is just wait outside or just wait till the morning,
Mm-hmm.
knock on the door, because it's going to be Jesus who's most likely going to answer, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
Tahi. But the thing is that it's going to be even worse because Teju is going to get wind of the fact that both of his sons are not at work. So the
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
why is it bothering me? So the thing is that if the investigator has not actually fulfilled and finished their investigation, and this is why I'm saying, like, okay, this author is giving us intense smut. We got a fight. We got intense smut. We're getting some progression a little bit in the relationship. They both acknowledge their feelings for each other. And because I know that the author is like setting up for it to be forced communication, for like a forced confession or something like that, I'm just saying to myself, when we are done this smut, we are going to get a cliffhanger similar to 49, where it's going to be something either simple or something going to be intense enough to keep everybody, back into their positions, back into their seats, because this author is really good at giving us a chokehold, because this is crack to most of us at this point. We can't
Yeah.
leave. Even if we want to marinate it, we always will want to come back, because we need to see how this ends. This is a dumpster fire of grandeur proportions. And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
you're not wrong on that. I
you
mean,
know, but
I
oh my
honestly,
god.
what I'm kind of surprised of, and sorry for interrupting, but I just want to
No, you're
throw this
fine.
in real quick. After he got beaten up, talking about Teha with the whole like Minchol thing, I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get a like an appearance from the chairman asking why his face looked like that, because the whole office was talking about it, but
Mhm.
nobody ever brought that up, and I am wondering if that's going to come back. Because
No.
we have seen that, Gainim will not put something in there that doesn't need to be there. So I'm wondering if maybe because of him getting beat up, because of his strange behavior, him suddenly leaving work, I am wondering if this is going to be all the ammo that Taeju needs to be like, okay, what's going on? What you doing?
Mhm.
He just needs
Where'd you
ammo.
go? You know what I mean?
He just needs ammo. And there's still an investigator still watching and knowing where he is at. And the thing is that if this is the perfect time, because you know what? You know what? Teju knows that his son did not go to his apartment. Teju knows that Lee
Yep.
J is busy doing something else. Teju knows nobody is at the apartment right now. The collection is still on the table. The sneakers were an indication. And he doesn't have to pull up himself. He is
Yeah.
just showing that I know the code. I know where to do. I know where to be. He could just get his investigator friend to do it. Look around, get all the things. He's acting a buck right now. I wonder how he's gonna act in a buck when he finds out his collection is gone. It's not
Oh,
just
geez.
that's gonna get Lee J in trouble.
Mhm.
Oh no.
I
It's the
really,
Teddy.
I really think that the stalker was, when he beat up the stalker and stuff like that. And then out of
Um,
nowhere, he brought up his brother. I really feel like that stalker is involved with the brother because that was just out of nowhere. The stalker just came to the shop and was looking at her. Like, I just feel like that was just too, like, it was just a weird coincidence because there was no indication of him being around until that happened. And I was just like, that was a weird thing that happened. And then he's like, oh, my brother is not going to be what did he say? He said my brother is not going to be like kind of soft, or he's going to be really aggressive, you know?
yeah, it's not a gentleman.
Mhm.
And I know for a fact we still that stalker is going to actually play a bigger role because like the thing is that every character, even a lot of background characters, have actually played like pivotal roles in the plot. Like for example, Solji, right? She told Tahi about the fact that like Teha has a girlfriend. Still, that when that panel came up, I actually screamed. I actually screamed, and I was just like, "What do you mean you're telling him all of this information? Stop it!" And there's this person who conveniently knows where Naheso works, conveniently knows to follow her on her way almost close to her house, and is as a worker in an affiliate company, and knows who probably the chairman is because he's probably high up in the company. He's going to say, "Oh, the person who looks like the chairman beat me up." Just
But
look.
yeah,
Whatever this
I'm gonna get
dog,
my well, sorry. Go ahead, girl.
I said, whatever this dog is cooking. If you guys hear me screaming on a Friday and saying that I'm going to fling myself off the building, something happened. Something
Well,
happened.
don't do that. Don't do that. We need you alive. I'm gonna give
Mm,
my chapter 65 prediction. First things
mhm.
first, very important here. There's still gonna be some soul shaking and backbreaking. Just get
Okay.
into it. That's not over. That's not done. They're still mid coitus. Now, next up, I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. The stalker is dead or completely incapacitated. He's not coming through. He was called debris by Jay. So I do not think that the stalker can do very much if he even is still breathing, because it didn't really sound like it, and the gloves were stained and the phone was cracked. And I do not think, I think he's on the stairway to heaven or hell, but I do not think he's with us anymore. Um, Second of all, I think chapter 63 gave us a glimpse of the empty apartment that not Tehi has. I think we might get Tehi, but I do not, and I know we're going to have to deal with Minchal at some point. So I'm just going to brace myself for our beloved Ginger to show up. But I do not think that Tehi has the capacity, the range to show up at anybody's house. And also in previous chapters, he told his bodyguard, "If you go follow my brother, I ain't helping you if my brother catches you." So he's trying to stay outside of his brother's radar to mess up his life. I don't think he's going to go forward and fully confront him until he's already done something malicious enough to brag about or like derail Teha. So that's all I got for now. Let's see what Gainem tosses at us.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think for me, I'm torn because I like my expectations is for more development between the main couple, but at the same time, I want the story to shift to the other characters. So I would like to see like maybe in the second half of chapter 65, maybe we get Lee J and his internal monologue. I would like to see a reintroduction to Taeju and him seeing that both kids are not at work and having to go in himself to kind of figure out what's going on. I just really want to see all of those like dominoes starting to kind of tumble over. So that's basically what I want for 65. We
If it
are
doesn't even
getting
happen for 65.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, go
you
ahead.
guys can hear me? Oh my
We
god, you
can
guys
hear
can hear me
you.
on here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. So the Wi-Fi works in my room. Even if it doesn't happen for 65, because it most likely is like they're gonna still continue on Smut, I do have that expectation, like some more plot heavy expectations for 66. That's all.
Mhm. Okay, so we are here at the end. Is there anyone in the audience who want to come up and say something before we go, or would you like for us to read your comment? Let us know. Wave your hand. I see some typing going on.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the comments, and there were a few folks that were talking about like a possible redemption arc for Minchol. I am opposed to that, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, he's
That's
irreparable.
Oh, come
Yeah.
on, guys. He was
I
such a good guy. Come
I
on.
No,
Do not.
repeat
no,
You know
absolutely
what?
not.
No, just no. Just
Yes.
no.
I
No,
repeat
no,
No.
no. I am okay
it.
with him learning that he was a piece of crap.
That's
He
what I'm
does not
saying.
need Naheso's forgiveness.
I
He
didn't
does
say
not
that's not what I'm saying.
need
That's not what I'm
he
saying.
doesn't need a redemption arc.
Yes,
He
he
just
does.
needs to be
He
a better
hurt
person.
like this because of the
Aletta, what are you saying,
situation.
girl?
No, I'm literally saying I really believe like if he was like this as a kid, like a shitty person, kind of like Taehi, okay, go to hell. Go straight to hell, be with the devil. You know what I mean? Like Taehi literally has been a bad guy since the day he was born, probably. He probably ripped his dad. Anyway,
Okay, so
I'm just
my
saying, like,
comment to that is nobody is born an asshole.
he
That
was beating his
behavior
brother
is
in high
either,
school. What
but
do you mean?
nobody is born an asshole. They
No,
become
I
I
don't
an
still hate
think he
Taehi.
asshole.
was. I don't think he
I
was
still
like
hate
literally
Taehi.
born this way, but that's just like that's just me like making fun of him. I'm just saying like he was beating up a little kid in high school. And I'm pretty sure his parents have taught him a certain way or been a certain way where he kind of developed these really nasty tendencies where like it just kind of that's kind of how he grew up. So it's very different from the way Mintrash is. I do think he needs to go through shit. I do think he needs to go to hell and then crawl himself back up for like redemption because he wasn't a
Nah, he
terrible
just
guy
needs to
from the
live his own life and just
yeah.
be a better
I think
person.
his
He just
redemption
needs to
would
be
be
That
more
and
for
a,
how
like
is he
for
a
supposed
him
to be
better
a better
success.
human.
person? How is he supposed to
I
be a
think
better
Okay.
his
person? Redemption.
Okay,
I think his
okay,
redemption.
ladies,
I'm
please, because
sorry.
you're all talking over each other right now. So let's just say this. Minchel is a narcissist. That is something that developed from early childhood for him. He's always been a good-looking guy. He's always been popular. Everyone has always said good stuff to him, and it got to his head. Taehi is a chaebol. In that world, there is a lot of narcissism. There are a lot of people who wield power, and all of that power goes to their head. Minchel could be redeemed as a person, but away from Haso. It has no, their relationship is completely over. There's
Agreed.
nothing tying them to each other anymore.
Agreed.
And that's
Agreed.
all I will say on that matter.
I don't want them to be together at all. I don't want him to go to
Yeah,
Hazel's
I
and be
don't
like, let's
think they're
be
getting
together.
back together. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
ever
think there's
want
going
that.
to be
I'm
reunion.
just saying, as a person, as a character, I would love to see that in him, where he kind of like, okay, you know what? I did all this crappy stuff, and I'm a bad person. Let me go and make my own path. I don't want to see it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, he's not going to go and
Yeah,
continue impregnating women and conning women. I kind of want to see that path for him. Obviously, I
yeah,
still want to see him go through shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him
yeah,
back with Hazel. Definitely
yeah.
not. Fuck that. Sorry.
I think what you really want is for him to have some accountability, and
Yes.
redemption could come through that. But that's not necessarily something we need to see. It could be mentioned at some point later on in the story,
Hmm.
but it
Agreed.
In
doesn't
the
really serve
credits.
a purpose right
Yeah,
now.
he can
So
walk into the sunlight and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do better," and that's the last we see of him. Like, go in the
yeah,
ocean. You know what I'm saying? That's fine.
yeah,
And I
On
apologize
river.
for almost saying a bad word.
Oh, it's
it's
okay. We do
it's
it all the
okay.
time. We've had
Yeah,
some thirst talk on here, so you are just fine, my dear. You are just fine. We're all friends, just talking, so it is totally
yes,
good.
yes,
Still talking is
absolutely
on river.
agree. All right, ladies, we have made it to the end. This is where we cue the sad music. This was a great discussion. This was a great chapter. I think we dug really deep. I think we did some great analysis on some of the characters and how they are feeling. So for everyone that stayed with us to this point, I am really grateful that you came to listen to us. Ladies on the panel, I'm so great that you were here with me tonight. Digital Girl, the Study Bunny, Auntie Laura, and Laletta. If you're going to be listening to us on YouTube, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Good night. And
Good night.
goodbye.